Hey ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from Redolessence. Thank you so much for tuning in, really appreciate it. And today, let's go ahead and take a closer look at one of the newest releases by the company Tom Ford. I know their newest is Lavender Extreme. I'm really excited for that one. But this one here is called Costa Azzurra Acqua, so stay tuned. So this fragrance was released in 2019 and it is part of the lighter collection, all adorned with blue bottles. And so you have Neroli Portofino, Mandarino di Amalfi, Neroli Portofino Forte, and then of course you have the original Costa Azzurra. This is the Aqua variant. So this is said to be a lighter, fresher, more inviting version of the original. And I think the thing about this one that I always found to be kind of unique is that it has these Chypre elements to it. So it's supposed to be lighter and citrusier, but it also has this green verdant backbone. So it has cypress, it has myrtle oil. So I do think that it's an interesting blend. The one, of course, that I ended up picking up was Mandarino di Amalfi. And then, of course, I also got in on a split of Neroli Portofino, which is why I have both of those behind me. But I liked Mandarino di Amalfi because it has not only the mandarin orange, which I think is very zesty and bright and full of life, but it also has this note of shiso in it, which is a type of aromatic ingredient used in a lot of like Mediterranean, but also Eastern inspired cuisines, and it's kind of related to the basil family. And so I'm excited to tell you what I think of this one. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation. The bottle has a frosted glass look to it that I really like. There's a sticker at the bottom with the information on it if you're looking to authenticate your purchase. The cap does not click into place, so don't pick this one up from the cap. The distribution on the atomizer for this one is nice and wide. Let's go ahead and continue with the smell. Now, I suppose the first thing I want to mention is that if you do have familiarity with the original Costa Azzurra, which came out a few years back, inevitably, this one is going to smell familiar to you. In the same way that Neroli Portofino Forte smells similar to Neroli Portofino and the Mandarino di Amalfi flanker smells similar to that one, this one is going to smell similar to the original Costa Azzurra. So Costa Azzurra means the Azure Coast or the Blue Coast. And so this is one that's very sort of Italian inspired. I actually like the way that this one smells. It's very safe. It's very easy to wear. It's easy to pull off. But I do find this one to be a lighter and, dare I say, weaker version of the original Costa Azzurra. So that's one of the negatives, I guess you could say. This one has a certain freshness to it, and I like that it stands out from others in this collection as it being one of the heavier scents in the collection. So I do think that this sort of reels it back into being a little bit lighter, the sense that it has been, I hate to use the term watered down, but it has this adulterated feel about it. But I think now it's kind of on the same level as the other fragrances from this collection. Personally, never had any qualms with Costa Azzurra. I always found that one to be very fresh, very inviting, so easy to wear, so easy to pull off. And this one is yet even a notch lighter, or perhaps 2 or 3 notches lighter than Costa Azzurra. Nevertheless, it does have those verdant accents in the dry down, so you do get a little bit of the cypress, you do get a little bit of that myrtle oil, kind of adding like this aromatic overtone to the composition, but there's still something in here that smells kind of marine and oceanic-like, and so it could be kaolin, it could be any number of other aroma chemicals that kind of give off that vibe in fragrances. And so that's not to say that those green elements are going to take away or detract from the freshness of the fragrance. They totally do not. This is definitely one that you can wear when the weather gets hotter outside. My wife personally loves this one. I personally do enjoy wearing the original, but that's not to say that this one won't get positive reception from people. It definitely will, because there's still that fresh, inviting, zesty element from the original in this one. So overall, I do think that this is a solid scent. In terms of it being a release in the Tom Ford wheelhouse, I do think that it probably comes across as a little redundant. I would recommend that someone go out there and purchase the original over this one any day of the week. I think the original will give you a lot more bang for your buck, not just in terms of the smell and how it unfolds, but also in terms of the performance. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I do think that this is a unique fragrance. I know it's funny, I've mentioned this in a video before. I could actually compare this one to Crave by Calvin Klein. It's a really old scent, and they kind of give off a similar vibe to my nose, at least. I actually made a video, I think, called The Cheapest Tom Ford Private Blend Collection, and I featured Calvin Klein's Crave in that video, but it's such an old fragrance, and it hasn't been around for such a long time, and truth be told, I think that this one is the better version of the two, even though the other one gives me more nostalgia. But nonetheless, I do think that it's a unique scent, despite that one obscure comparison. And the overall smell is incredibly pleasant. However, do note, I would recommend the original before I recommend this one. I think the original was light enough. In terms of longevity, I got 5 to 6 hours. Projection was 2 to 2.5 hours. Because of the abundance of citrus that is found in here, it will be kind of loud for the first half hour to 1 hour, but projection was solid for 2 to 2.5 hours, and then it became a skin scent at like the 5-hour mark, and it fully disappeared at like the 6-hour mark. Versatility for this one is great as long as you're wearing it when the weather is hot. I think if you're wearing it dressed up, you could totally pull this one off. If you want something a bit sharper, something a bit more inclined to get people's heads to turn, then, you know, I'm sure there's a plethora of other scents out there that you could find on the market, but all in all, this one is great. You will not offend anybody. It smells awesome, very bright, full of life, citrusy, and accommodating. In terms of the presentation for this one, I actually prefer the ones that have the base at the bottom that you can put the bottle in. I just think it rests in there very securely, and I actually do prefer that presentation. But all in all, there's nothing wrong with this one. I actually like the frosted glass on the bottle here. My final verdict on this scent is I do like it. I think it's a very pleasant scent, very easy to wear. However, I do prefer the original, and as long as the original is on the market, I would continue to recommend that one. And if you can find that at a discounted price, that's even better. But all in all, it's a solid scent. Definitely go out there, check it out for yourself, especially if you've never tried Costa Azzurra. I think you ought to check this one out. My personal favorite from the line, once again, has to be Mandarino di Amalfi. I mean, just the amount of compliments that I get with that one is insane. And I've used more than half of it, if I'm not mistaken. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Costa Azzurra Acqua by Tom Ford, part of the Private Blend line. If you own or have tried this fragrance or any other fragrance from this collection of scents, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. I always love the discussion. And also, if you're new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, I would greatly appreciate your subscription. All you have to do is click the red subscribe button in the corner. And this way, whenever I do upload future fragrance-related content, they will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. Thanks for watching once again. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.